Hello, this is Dr. Mears. Today we are going to learn how to graph a line in slope-intercept form. So we are going to be drawing the graph of each line, and they give it to us in slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b. Let's write that down. Y equals mx plus b. And that's slope-intercept form because m is our slope and b is our y-intercept. So it's called slope-intercept form. So here we go. Number 1, y equals 4/3 x plus 1. What we have to do here is first we're going to be locating the slope. So let's write y equals mx plus b right over our equation. We're going to circle the number that's directly under the m because that's slope. M equals 4/3. Now that we have our slope, let's locate our b, which is our y-intercept. Our b, we're going to circle with the actual operation here, plus. We're going to circle the plus and the 1. So b equals positive 1. Now, after we pulled out our slope and our y-intercept, we are going to graph it. We're going to first plot the y-intercept. Plot y-intercept. So y-intercept is where the graph intersects the y-axis. This is the y-axis. So we have to go on the y-axis to positive 1. I like to call this home base right here, positive 1. That's where we're going to always go back to start more points and then plot from there, and then we go back to home base and we plot more points from there. So this is our start point, our home base. So this is our start point. So from our start point, we're going to be doing our slope. So I'm going to rewrite slope. Slope 4/3. Now it's a very interesting thing about slope. What's interesting is that slope tells us about how steep the line is. Well, in order to know about how steep the line is, we have to know how to get from one point to another. And once we get from one point to another, we're able to draw that line and see that steepness. So let's write just a couple notes here. M, which is our slope, equals, and so the numbers in the numerator and the numbers in the denominator actually give us our directions, kind of just like Google Maps says turn right here. So the number in the numerator on top, if it's positive, that's how many boxes we're going to be going up. If it's negative, that's how many boxes we're going to be going down. The number in the denominator, if it's positive, that's how many boxes we're going to be, that's how many boxes we're going to be going right. And if it's negative, that's how many boxes we go left. So these two numbers mean something. So let's look at what our numbers are telling us to do from our home base. We have 4. This 4 in the numerator is telling us to go up. I'll put a little arrow up. This 3 is positive, so that's going to be going to tell us to go right. If you want to write out up and right, that's absolutely fine as well. So let's go to our home base here, and we're going to go do our directions. Up 4. So from home base, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, I'm here. Do not make a point yet, because we have not finished. We need to go 3 right. 1, 2, 3. So we make our point. If I had more graph, I would keep going, but I don't, so I'm just going to stop there. So yes, my pen does erase. It's an erasable gel pen. Okay, so now I need another point over on the other side. So what I'm going to do is my complete opposite slope. So instead of going up, that's right, I'm going to be going down. So that's a negative 4. That's my down arrow, or you can either write the word down. Then my 3 here is positive, so I'm going to be going, instead of right, I'm going to be going left. That's my left arrow. I'm going to be going left. So we have to go back to our home base. We go back to our start point. So here I am at my start point, and instead of going up now, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 down. And instead of going right, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 3 left. I make another point. If I had more graph, I'd keep going, but I don't. I'd get out my trusty ruler. I don't have it here, so I'm going to make a nice strong line with arrows, and I have a graph of my line that was in slope-intercept form. It tells you how steep it is, up 4, right 3, down 4, left 3, connected my points, put arrows on it. Let's see what happens when I have a negative slope. So here we have y equals negative 2/5 x minus 4. So y equals mx plus b. So my m here is negative 2/5. My b is negative 4. So the first thing is we need our home base, which is our y-intercept. So that's negative 4. This can actually be written in the point 0, negative 4. If you would like to even see it written like that, that's what makes it the y-intercept as well. It's when x is 0. So we need to plot this. So we're going to go to the y, and we're going to go to negative 4. So that's down here. Don't you go up. It's down here. And we're going to be needing to now find other points using our slope of the line. So our slope, notice this, it's negative, and the negative is in front of the fraction. When the negative is in front of the fraction, I always like to send it to the top first. So what I do is I put that negative on top. Okay, we will eventually get it on the bottom, but because there's only one and it was in front, I assign it to that numerator number. All right, so let's see what this tells us to do. Notice the number on top is negative, so we're going to be going down. The number on the bottom, the denominator, is positive, so we're going to be going right. So we need to go down 2, 1, 2, and then right 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I had more graph, I would keep going. Now I need another point over on the other side of the graph, so I'm going to do the complete opposite. So instead of going down, I'm going to be going, you got it, up. So this now is a positive 2, so I'm going to be going up. Instead of going right, you got it, I'm going to be going left. So you see here that now my negative is in the denominator because I need to do the complete opposite so that I can find that other point on that other side. So let's go back to home base, which is right here, and instead of going down, we go up 1, 2, and then we're going to go left 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I would run out a graph over here if I did it again, so I'm just going to connect these 3 points. 3 points is pretty good. Going to connect them with a strong line, put arrows on my line, and we're good to go to the next problem. Okay. Now the next one, what happens if my slope isn't a fraction already? So we have here y equals mx plus b, y equals negative 5x minus 2. So y equals mx plus b. So my m is not a fraction. Here's my b is negative 2. So first, you know what, let's do b, let's get our home base. B is negative 2. That is the point 0, negative 2. Let's graph that on the y-axis. You always start from this axis. Which one? The y. This one. The up and down one. Always start right here. Okay. So we're starting here. We have to start at negative 2, so that's down here. There's our home base. Okay. Let's notice m equals negative 5, because that's the one that's underneath the m here. It's always attached to the x by multiplication. Now I don't have a fraction, so how you turn any integer into a fraction is over 1. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put negative 5 over 1. Voila! I now have a fraction. So I now can do my directions. The number on top is negative, so that means I'm going to go down. The number underneath in the denominator is positive, so I'm going to go right. If you even want to put like down and right, D and R, you can do that as well. I just need to see you labeling your work the first few times that you do this for me. So please show all your work the first few times. So let's go down 5. From home base. Thank you. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I ran out of graph, but I'm only have to extend it once, so I'm just going to extend it down 1, and that's fine. So I'm going to go down 5. And then I'm going to follow along just right 1, which would be right here. So if you extended this graph just a little bit, that's absolutely fine. I have a nice point here. That's fine. If you have to go down 10, you might not be able to graph that point. We are going to be getting another point over here, so that's okay. So remember, the other point over here has to be the complete opposite. So instead of going down, you got it, we're going to go up. You can put a U if you want, or an up arrow. Instead of going right, you got it, it's going to become a negative 1, and we're going to go left. So again, the complete opposite, the negative went from the numerator now down to the denominator. So let's go back to home base here, right here, and we're going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to go left 1. Would I be able to do it again? 1, 2. Nope, I wouldn't. All right, so wow, this is a pretty steep line here, huh? When it's not in a fraction form, it's a little bit steeper than these other ones. So you could get a ruler. Of course, I don't have one right now, but you draw the line in and you draw your arrows. Okay, let's see what's next. What happens if I don't have a b? So this is y equals 1/4 x. So this is y equals mx plus b. Notice there's no b. If I have no b, that means that my graph starts at 0. Okay, so I actually have a b, it's just not written in. So it's going to be plus 0. So my m is going to be 1/4, my b is going to be 0. So my b, let's pull it out, is 0. So my y-intercept is going to be at 0, 0. So 0, 0 is, remember we're starting here, but we're just going to be starting at 0, 0. 0, 0 is that middle point right there, right in the middle of the graph, right in the center. So there's my home base. Let's pull out slope. Slope is 1/4. The numerator is positive, so I'm going to go up. The denominator is positive, so I'm going to go right. So let's go to home base. Let's go up 1 and right 1, 2, 3, 4. Would I be able to do it again? Up 1, 1, 2. Nope, I wouldn't, so I'm not going to do it again. And let's do our complete opposite. So instead of going up, positive, I'm going to go down, which is negative. And instead of going right, which is positive, I'm going to go left, which is negative. So go back to home base. Down 1, left. 1, 2, 3, and 4. I didn't mean to make these little marks. Okay, I have my line, my points, so let's draw my line in so that I have my line. Wow, that is not as steep as this one. So this one was 1/4 slope, and this one was a slope of -5. Notice this is much steeper than this one here. Okay, let's move on. Move my sheet up a little bit, my camera down a little bit. Here we go. Okay, so what happens if we have just x equals and just y equals? So here we have y equals 4, here we have x equals -5. If you have x equals -5, what I would like you to do is I would like you to go to the x-axis and I would like you to go to -5 and make a point. Because what this is telling us is that it is going to be a vertical line and it is going to pass through -5. This means that my line is not straight. This means that any point that you choose, your x will always equal -5. So if we go here, so this is the x-axis, right? So we go to -5. So any point, x is still -5, x is still -5, x is still -5, x is still -5, x is still -5. Down here, x is still -5, x is still -5, x is still -5. So when you have this, this is a line that passes through -5 on the x-axis. It is a vertical line. And for your vertical line here, notice I'm not intersecting the y. There is no y intersecting point. There really is no b. We can't say that b is 0. We don't have one. It does not cross the y-axis. Our slope here, this is so steep that we can't find it. Our slope is undefined. And we have at does not cross y. Sorry, that got a little sticky down there. So this says m equals undefined, and this is b equals does not cross y. Okay, and we can even put axes. Little messy, but you know what? When you're messy, that means you're working hard. So let's keep going. Okay, so this is y equals 4. So we put y equals mx plus b. Notice there is no x here. Dun, dun, dun. So there is no mx. What we can really rewrite this as y equals 0x plus b. And so y equals 0x plus b, our b, and that is going to be that number 4. So y equals 0x plus 4 because we have no m. So our b is 4. So we have a intersection. Our slope is 0. So we can't say that doesn't have a slope, it's just 0. So let's see what that looks like. So same thinking on this. Let's go to let's go to the 0, 4, the y intersection point, which is right here. So that would be our home base that I was talking about in all of the other ones. Now I would do my slope. So even making this into a fraction, it would be up 0, right 1. Correct? So even if I went up 0, oops, so I did this right, up 0, there's no up 0, so I go up 0, I don't go anywhere, I'm still here, and then right 1. I go up 0, and don't go anywhere, right 1. Up 0, right 1, up 0, right 1. And then I'd go down 0, and then left 1. So now I'm making points over here. So like this one, this is actually a line that intersects the y-axis at 4, but it's a horizontal line now. So when we had x equals -5, it was a vertical line. When we have y equals 4, it's a horizontal line. So it's just a horizontal line through 4 on y-axis. Our slope is 0. So kind of like you're just walking on the street, there's no slope to this street. It's a 0 slope. I can't say there's no slope. There's a 0 slope to this this line right here. And our b, we actually have a b. We cross the y-axis at 4. So these are two different concepts. You just have to make sure your x equals goes through x, your y equals goes through y. And it's at those numbers right here that they give you. So these numbers here can change, but you just have to remember if it's x equals, it passes through x. If it's y equals, it passes through y. So this has been relatively a little bit longer video, but it does really touch base on all the types of different graphs that you would have. Please also remember, and I'm just going to flip this over, so flip your paper over quick. If you have an equation that looks like this, y equals x minus 2, and you're looking to find the slope here, we do have an x, so what your m is 1, because remember, sometimes those 1s like to hide. Even if you had y equals -x minus 2, we still have an x, so this is a 1 here. So please don't fill 0 in here. If you have y equals -4, that's when we have a 0 for the x, and then our b is -4. So these are different. So when you have an x there, the 1 goes in front. When you don't have the x, that's where we have a 0x. So I just wanted to kind of touch base on that a little bit. We didn't graph one of these, so I wasn't able to show you, but now I am. So this has been graphing a line and slope intercept form. I hope this helps. I hope you reference this video. If you get a little bit confused, again, call me over. I'm here to help. This has been graphing a line and slope intercept form.